So your role, this is an important bit. This is more important than it seems. A lot of students will just skim read this and then move on. You should take a little bit of time to read this because it helps you understand precisely how the exam works and what's going to be expected of you in the exam. So the first thing to note is that you are a finance officer working in the finance department at Sparkle. So what does that mean? You're a finance officer. Well, finance officer is at the bottom of the chain of command in the finance department. So there may be you and a few other colleagues. You're all on the same level as finance officers, and you'll all report to probably a finance manager, and the manager then reports to the finance, director of finance, the finance director, and the finance director, of course, will then be sort of subject to the CEO or managing director. Okay, so as finance officer, you're going to be down here, like I said, potentially with a few other colleagues. That means that you are primarily focused on this level of the company, the operational level, the actual level where the accounts are done, where management information is put together, compiled and analyzed, where financial reporting is done, where it's the basics of how the company is run. You're not going to be involved in making strategic decisions. You're not going to be involved in advising on whether to take one project or the other. Your role will be to facilitate that decision making, which happens higher up at the director level. So you are given tasks that maybe relate to bigger strategic decisions, but your focus is to do the kind of groundwork that enables or provides the analysis for making those decisions. Okay, so while it might be tempting to think more strategically in big picture, that's not what the examiner wants you to do in this exam. So that's an important thing to understand at this stage because it'll completely define how you approach this exam. So in the fiction of this made-up scenario, you're a finance officer, you're facilitating your directors and managers by providing information and analysis. How does that translate into what you're actually doing in the exam? Well, providing information, that essentially means that you're showing the examiner that you understand the syllabus. Providing information means you're taking bits from F1, from P1, from E1, and you're talking about it. You're presenting that information where it is needed to your managers. In other words, showing the examiner that you understand parts of the syllabus. You understand group accounts. You understand whatever it is, cost accounting, the 4 Ps, whatever topic. So that's providing information. Analysis is showing that you can take that information, that theory, the syllabus, and apply it to new situations. So yeah, okay, maybe you know how to do accounting for the basic group accounts, you know the theory. Can you apply it to a new scenario that you've never seen before? Okay, yeah, you know how the value chain works, but can you apply that to a completely new company in a situation that you've never seen before? That's the analysis. So you've got to show the examiner that you know what you're talking about, you understand the syllabus, and then the next step, that's just how you get the good marks, is to show you can apply that theory, apply that understanding to new scenarios like you would be expected to do in the real world of business. Okay, so it's this basic idea. 1, you show the examiner you understand. 2, you apply that understanding to new scenarios. This should be the basic structure of all your exam questions. Now, I won't go into much more detail on this. We do have a series of videos and a textbook and a whole load of other stuff that specifically tells you how to approach the case study exam and how to develop a strategy for it. But I find these key points really helpful to students who have never sat a case study exam before. Okay, so you are principally responsible for preparing budget and variance information and for assisting Jack East, the head of finance. So Jack East is your boss, head of finance. That would be this finance manager role here probably, with information to assist decision making. So these 3 things here, decision making, variance information, budget, these are the 3 key P1 topics. And P1 in the operational case study, 50% of your questions will be on P1 topics. So they'll be on budgeting, variance, decision making, potentially costing questions as well. 50%. So the way the OCS exam works, you get 4 sections. Each section is divided into 2 tasks. So overall, you get 8 tasks. 4 of those out of the 8 will be on P1 topics, and those will be on things like budget, decision-making, variance. Okay, so that's just roughly how the structure works. In addition to that, you assist with the preparation of the financial statements. Okay, so that's your F1 responsibility, preparation of the financial statements, financial reporting, and taxation. Now, F1 topics make up 25% of the OCS exam. So that means you'll get 2 tasks, 2 subtasks on F1 topics, and they could really be on any part of the F1 syllabus, from sort of basic financial reporting, taxation, or even working capital management. Now, working capital management questions are fairly popular at OCS because they're easy to apply. You can do kind of ratio analysis, looking at the figures, but they don't always come up. You are just as likely to get questions on how to apply specific financial reporting standards. Okay, so that's P1 and F1. That's 75% of your exam covered. What about E1? Well, this is this last bit here. Deal with requests for information from other managers in the business as and when required. So that's just basically, you might get given other things too, and they tend to be E1 topics. So if you get something on supply chain management, or something on marketing or IT, or any of those E1 topics, organizational structure, HR, that's another area of the business, and you could get a question from a manager somewhere else in the business asking you to do something on that. So E1 topics will make up the remaining 25%, which is 2 subtasks. So P1, you'll get 4 tasks. F1, you'll get 2 tasks. E1, you'll get 2 tasks. And then overall, in the whole exam, you'll have 8 tasks. Okay, so you see now that this short paragraph didn't seem that important to start with, but actually, if you start figuring out why CIMA have included this, what they're telling you about your role, what they're expecting you to do in the exam, what you actually have to do in the exam, it kind of brings it all together, and you get a clear vision then of what exactly it is you have to do. So if you're analyzing the pre-scene, make sure you really read it and understand it and try to apply it. So that's going to be it for our first video then. We'll stop it there, and we'll continue in video 2 on the next page, where we'll be looking at an article on the jewelry industry in Newland. So we'll be getting a broader understanding of how the industry in Newland works. So if you found that video helpful, remember to like and subscribe on YouTube to make sure you're getting all the latest Astranti updates. And you can also find us on other social media platforms. We are on Twitter and on Instagram, and you can find us on Facebook in a number of different places. We have groups for operational strategic management case studies. So have a look on Facebook and see if you can find the right group for you.